everyone. We're going to be continuing our analysis on chess in Blitz games on chess.com, and now I'm going to go over a game I played yesterday between me and Rosa7414. So let's begin. So it's e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and now we have, instead of knight c6, which is the most common reply as for today's standards, we have bishop d6, which is I don't really know what this is. It blocks out the bishop's development, and it's kind of puts the bishop on a very unuseful square. So if you want to play an opening like that, you should play a move like e6. Then if you go bishop bishop d6, it will still be a little bad because it still makes you fianchetto your bishop if you want to develop it. Let me try that again. Fianchetto the bishop if you want to develop it. But it's a little better this time, as the bishop isn't as useless as it is here. Sorry about that. Here. Notice how the difference between these two positions. Here the pawn is on e6, letting the bishop attack the h2 square. But if bishop d6 here, it doesn't let him attack the h2 square. Let's continue. Knight c6, knight f6, d3, and black castles. Bishop g5, pinning the knight to the queen. Knight c6, ignoring the threat, and now playing knight e2. If you from now on, if you're gonna watch in my games, I always like to bring my knights over to the king side, because I think the king is a little safer, because like two knights, they just gets on top of the king, and there's really no squares to attack from, because the knights cover all the king side squares, and as the opponent's king is on the king side, it will be easy to attack. Bishop e7. He's finally ready to move his knight. And now it's c4. Normally when I move my knight, I like to expand on the queen side. a6, knight g3. Now the knights are both on the king side, and now we have h6. Kicking back the knight, kicking back the bishop. Bishop captures. You should capture here. You realize why I didn't capture it here in this position, whereas I captured it in this position. only make a capture if it somewhat helps you. So let's continue. So I played bishop e2, ready to castle, and he played h3. Sorry, not h3, b6. He wants to bring out his bishop, trying to stop me from castling, even though it's already the 11th move. Now h3, queen d7, and now I castled. b5, striking on the queen side. b3, because I don't really want any pawn islands. Because let's say he captures, I capture back. Now he has two pawn islands, whereas I have two pawn islands too, but he has a very isolated pawn here. And isolated pawns are somewhat bad because there are no buddy pawns to help them promote. The only way you can get a pawn back is by trading and making my pawn be on b6, and he needs to capture towards the b file. So let's continue. a5, a4, rook e8, ready to bring his rook into the game. And now queen d5, bishop b7, ready to start attacking on his queen. And here I was a little careless of my queen safety. I just went queen b5, and there's really not much time to think, because of course this is a blitz game, 3-minute blitz game. So he just took advantage of my blunder here by playing rook a7. What this does is, and you'll see why he did this after my next move. c5, he just wanted to play and now, instead of capturing, which seems like the best idea, he did a move that would actually looks like it finished off the game, but it does not, which you will see later in the game. So feel free to pause the video and find this this spectacular idea. Well, I'll give you a couple of seconds, or you can just stay in the video and I'll give you a couple seconds anyways. Okay, so for those of you who will do it, congratulations on spotting the move that wins my queen on the spot. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop to a6. And believe it or not, right here, my queen is trapped. All these squares are covered. I cannot retreat back because of the bishop, and there's only so far my queen can go on the b file. B4 is covered by the pawn. Of course, I cannot capture on a5, and all the others and all my escape squares are covered. But here I made the blunder when I played c5. I blocked out my only escape square, which is queen d5. So now bishop a6. Now I had no choice but to capture, but I felt happy because I was at least getting the queen for the price of a rook and bishop. He gets the queen for the price of a rook and bishop, and as you can see in the piece point manager thingy, he's only up 1 point because a rook and bishop are worth 8 points, whereas a queen is only worth 9 points. And as we were tied before this dramatic queen loss, he's only up by 1 point. So he played knight b4, trying to kick back my bishop. I attacked his queen, hoping that if the queen moves, I could at least capture his rook, and then at least I could finish off the game with 2 rooks and 2 knights. But no, that's not what will happen. He played c6. I brought my bishop back, knight c2, rook 8 to c1, and now knight b4. The engine says that right here he made the blunder of playing rooks in knight c2 and he said that I need to play rook f to c. That I need to play rook a to d1 if I want to exploit this. I think it's because the knight's kind of trapped, but I don't know. Does he want me to capture on d6? Does he want me to play knight e1, let me trade, and then I'll have 2 active rooks? I don't know what he wants. But okay. That's not what I played because I didn't see that idea as useful. I played rook c1, knight d4, captures, and now knight f5. Queen e5, f4, and now queen captures on e4. I was hoping he'd do this because now I'd have this fork, but still he cannot. He can defend this by playing queen e3 check, and now I had to play king h1, and now rook to f8 attack. Sorry, rook. That's rook d8. Rook f8 attack. Does not attack my knight. Now I just went rook c to e1, trying to maintain pressure, and now he just played queen g3. Now I played rook e8, captures because that was forced, and now bishop e7. So we'll go there, bishop e7, and now rook f3. I think a better move would have kind of been rook e1 if I could get to it, but first I need to play the moves I have to play. Queen e1 check, king h2. Here it's a little different. If he had moved his bishop to d8, and now if I'd played rook f3, it would have been a blunder because now he picks up my knight with this very useful check. But instead, he decided it was best to move his bishop to a7, and now he played king f8. I retreated with knight c7, bishop d6, knight a6, and g5. Hitting this pawn, g3 defending, and now queen d2 check. King g1, now g captures on f4. G captures on f4, and bishop captures on f4. Here I was hoping that if I could bring my knight over here, and then if this queen gets somewhat near, then I could try to do a fork. But yeah, that's exactly what I went for. I went for knight c5, and now queen h2 check. King f1 is forced, and now queen h1 check. Here I went king e2. I'm basically an open king now, so he just needs to go on a very nice king hunt. Queen g2 check, rook f2, and queen g5. Here, I thought, okay, maybe if I can somehow eliminate the f2 pawn, and then somehow bring his, bring his king back to f8, maybe I could fork him like this, but but there was no way he would have done that. So that's not what happened. Instead, we just played knight d7. I just played knight d7 check, and now he played king g7. I think he thought it was too risky to come and run towards the queen side, and so he just took control of the king side. Here, if this pawn weren't here, I think the bet. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yes. No. Yes. Here. Yeah, we're here. And here I played king f3, hoping for a ping here. And now I played queen. Now he played queen g3, just stopping it. King e2 was forced, as that was the only move that would protect the rook. And now rook, queen e3 check. King f1 d3, and rook g2 check. Now knight f6, hoping that if he gets ready, if he becomes greedy and does not see this and does not see checkmate, like if he becomes greedy for another queen, because once he gets another queen, I'm finished. So d2, and here if he had played d2, then rook g8 is a nice Arabian checkmate. The Arabian checkmate is supposed to be done with the king in the corner and my rook on h7 or a7, a2 or h2. These are all the 4 places it could be done. There's even this thing called a hookmate, which is a little different. If you want, I can make a video on all the different kinds of checkmates. Otherwise, let's just continue. Okay, so instead of that, he played queen c1 check, king f2, queen e3 check, king f1, queen f3 check, rook f2, queen captures on h3 check, rook g2, and queen captures on g2. Now he became a little overexcited, thinking that after captures, I could not stop this pawn from promoting. But that is actually a very big mistake, because now after bishop e1, he realized that he's not promoting this pawn. After king g7, which is a blunder here too, because that immediately picks up the bishop. Knight f4 check, king f5, trying stopping all further checks, because if he had gone here, if he had gone to g5, this would have been another check. And now he would have to run to the side, and eventually I would pick up this pawn. But instead, he played king f5, and now I just moved my knight to d3. After king e4, I played king f2. Now I have a very nice wall here, so he has to run all the way to this side. Results only king to escape squares. But instead he played f5. f5, trying his last and final hope to win. Knight c5 check, king d4, and now knight e6 check, king c3, and now I played knight d8, hitting this pawn, but he doesn't care. He just played c5, and now I just played knight b7, forking the pawn, so I get one or the other. Now king captures on b3. Now I made a little tricky decision. Which pawn do I capture? Do I capture the a pawn, or do I capture the c pawn? So feel free to pause the video and look for the pawn that I captured. And if you're interested, post in the comments why I captured that pawn, but no cheating. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting why I did not capture the a pawn, but instead I captured the c5 pawn to check. And here's why. I'll tell you why at the end of the video, so I won't be a spoil sport. Knight captured on c5 check, king c2, and now knight b7, d8. Now he decided to be a little extra greedy. He wanted to get rid of my bishop, so he just played d1 queen, captures, and now knight captures on a5, and now I'm completely winning this. King c2, he tried a last desperate way to get hope, king b3, and now a5. This is the last pawn I can push. That's the only way you could ever mate him. a5, h5, and now I just played a6, h4, knight d4 check, king c4, and now I pick up the pawn, king b5, a7, king b6, and a8 equals queen. And it was in this position on move 74 that Rosa7414 resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. and here's the position. Not this, this is an extra line I created. So that's the position where she resigned. And I don't know what you think about this. Is this a good game or a bad game, or did I make an excellent comeback, or was it bad, or is it that I blundered in the first 30 moves of the game? It doesn't matter. But just share your opinions in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you soon. Continuing the coverage of this, continuing the analysis games, and checking up on any wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I'll see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. Just kidding. I was going to show you why I did not play knight captures on a5 in this position. Instead of playing knight captures on a5, that would immediately pick up this pawn, and that's the last pawn I have. So that's why instead, if I had played knight captures on a5, this would not have been possible. So that's why I decided to play knight captures on a5 with check. Not knight captures. That's what I literally just not said. That's why I played knight captures on c5 with check, so that I don't know why the computer recommends this, because that immediately loses me this pawn. But instead, I played knight captures on c5 with check, because that's the only way I would have been able to achieve this checkmate. He could have gone here too, and that would have been disastrous. Even after this, but he did not play that. Instead, because I think he was running out of time in this position. So there you have it. You always need to look for moves. If there's like a better move that does not lose you anything, you should always play that move, unless you have a solid reason not to. Not here. Sorry about that. Let me just run back to. Yeah, here's the position. Instead of playing knight captures on a5, so that not only am I checking the king, and not only did I pick up the pawn, I'm supporting the a5 pawn as well. Now, if he had gone king b4, now if I could have gone bishop, I could have gone a move like knight d3 check. The reason why I did not play knight d3 check is because I don't really like going into knight and bishop endgames, because they're really hard to master. So instead, I went for the bait, and he put king c2, which was an inaccuracy, and finally I managed to take advantage of that. I would have played bishop b that, yeah. I would have done that, but it's kind of risky if I wanted a good game. But okay, so there you have it, the game, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Bye bye.